Is there one word that best describes you? A few years ago, we were introduced to an organization called Character First. They convinced us that people respond to recognition from others, not based on what they have accomplished or achieved, but on the way their character has come to light. They list 36 character attributes and encourage recognition of how these are demonstrated in someone's life. We took these lists and at the end of the year would pick one attribute that best described each of our children, and we would make a certificate to recognize how they had been a blessing to our family. It was such a joy for Andrea and I to look back over the past year and see the way our children had grown, had overcome challenges, and had benefited our family and wider community because of the character that God was developing within them. If someone had to recognize you for something in your character that shone brightly in 2020, what would it be? Could one word illuminate the person you are and are experienced by others? When John writes his letters, they come near the end of the first century, when John was already advanced in age. He was writing to encourage the believers, most probably in the various churches scattered around Asia. Already there had been some damage done to the gospel by those who held to Gnostic ideas. In Gnosticism, only the spirit of a person is seen to be good, and everything that is material is evil. No wonder John starts his letter speaking of Jesus as one he heard, saw with his own eyes, looked at, and touched with his own hands. The physical attributes are highlighted so that we know John is not subscribing to the idea that all material or physical things are of no value or evil. Because of Gnostic ideas, things done in the flesh are of no consequence. What a lie! This meant people could do whatever they wanted in the flesh, and this would not be seen as sinful or something to tarnish their spiritual development. This dichotomy of thinking meant that people could believe in something spiritual, yet live their lives without any conviction of sin. What a dangerous idea. So we get to John's statement about the message he heard from Jesus. It is fascinating that what John says is not anything that we read Jesus saying in any of the Gospels. He is not quoting Jesus or referencing any specific teaching or moment in Jesus' ministry when he said these words. Of course, it is possible that what John says he heard Jesus say belonged to the many things that are not recorded by the writers of the New Testament. It was John himself in the Gospel who said, "Jesus did many other things as well. If every one of them were written down, I suppose that even the whole world would not have room for the books that would be written." It is more likely that John was summarizing the message that he heard from the Messiah, his life, his death and resurrection, his teaching and miracles, his lifestyle and attitude, his character, and putting it into one word. This is the message we have heard from him and declare to you. God is light. In him there is no darkness at all. God is light. And God said, "Let there be light." In him was life, and that life was the light of men. God is light, the author of life, the one who shines truth in the darkness, the one who dwells in unapproachable light. Holy, holy, holy. And this light revealed himself through his Son, who said, "I am the light of the world. If you have seen me, you have seen the Father. Before Abraham was, I am." From the speck of light of that guiding star that brought kings to worship the baby in Bethlehem, to the blinding brilliance of the transfigured Son of Man on the mountain, to the piercing presence of the resurrected Lord who threw Paul from his horse and gave him the new plan for his life. He is the light of the world. Yet, says John, not only is he transcendent, our hands have touched him. And so whoever claims to have fellowship with Jesus but continues to walk in the darkness is a liar. Whoever claims to be without sin because we live in a detached way from our physical responsibility, we deceive ourselves. And worse, if we think that by believing that only the spiritual dimension matters, and so we have not sinned, we make him out to be a liar. God is light. Jesus is the light of the world. And the amazing thing is that he said to those who walked in fellowship with him, "You are the light of the world. Let your light shine before men," not in some deeply spiritual, ethereal, otherworldly way, but in real, tangible, meaningful, imminent ways, that they may see your good deeds and praise your Father in heaven. We are called to walk in fellowship with God who is light, so that we can bring light to the darkness in our world. When light shines through a prism, it refracts to a myriad of colors. When the light of God's life shines through us, it displays the manifold wisdom or many-colored wisdom of God to the greatest and the least of heaven and earth. The gospel is a message of light, but it is no light matter, and so we should pay attention so that we are not a hindrance to the truth, but like a prism reflect the glory of the Lord to a world lost in brokenness and darkness. What color do you display to the rulers in the heavenly realms? What representation of his glory, what word of his character can sum up the good works that make the Father famous? God is light, and in him there is no darkness at all. Father, may I walk in fellowship with you and shine like stars in this crooked and depraved generation. Amen.
A formless void, the dead of night, and then you spoke, let there be light. An empty soul, no hope in sight, and then you spoke, let there be light. And then you spoke, and there was light. In your word there is life. You restore me in your mercy. By your breath You are